Hello dear students, welcome back to our online class. Today we are going to deal with our literature, the poetry, 9 gold medals written by David Roth. So let us come to know about the David Roth. Who is the David Roth? David Roth is actually is an American poet born on 10th of October 1954 at Bloomington, Indiana. He is more popular as a rock vocalist. Who is a vocalist? One who sings song. Okay, so rock vocalist, singer and stage performer because of his famous hard rock band Van Halen. Okay, so he is supremely professional and has contributed richly to the American stage music shows, drawing unlimited fans and audiences. His contribution to poetry is overshadowed by his other achievements in the music. He is also a famous soloist as well as an eminent radio personality. David Roth speaks Spanish very fluently and is fond of mountaineering. As an author, he has written his autobiography named as Crazy from the Heat. So in this poem, his command over the intricacies of the music, passion for singing, love for dance, charismatic style combined together have made him a highly popular and successful personality. So this poem, The 9 Gold Medals, is actually a unique and perfect presentation of the true sportsman's spirit. The poem recalls a true incident that happened in Paralympics Games. Paralympics Games means it's the Olympic Games meant for differently abled people. Okay, now who is this differently abled people? Means physically challenged people. Now we had the time when we used to use the word as a handicap, but nowadays we don't use that word handicap, but we call such people as physically enabled or differentiately abled, because though they lack some things but they have many talents beside that. Okay, so they are called as differentially abled or physically even challenged. Okay, now this poem 9 gold medals is actually it's a record of an incident that takes place at the Special Olympics, and all the contestants in this, it is actually about a race. Okay, now in this race we have 9 contestants, okay, who actually set for the race, and all the 9 contestants are differentially abled or they are physically challenged. Now when the race begins, the contestants has sharp fall and lies on the track crying out in pain. Okay, then we can see that when all start moving ahead in the race, I don't coin the word running because they all are physically challenged, so they have their own pace of moving. Okay, their own speed of moving. So some may move fast, some may move slow, some may take longer steps, some may take short steps. Okay, so according to their ability. So when all are moving ahead, one of the contestant falls down on his track. Okay, now normally what happens, if we think of the race like this, normally what happens when every contestant will be participating with only one intention, that they have to win, isn't it, or they have to come ahead or they have to come forward. So no one thinks that I should stay backward and because of that I will be going and participating. No. Okay, but here we see something different. Here we see that when one contestant fell down on the track, the other 8 contestants stopped for a while in their own respective positions. They all turned back and they saw that one of them fell down. Okay, and they did not think that okay, they have to compete with only 8 and not with the 9, and they did not think that they had the greed for winning the medal. They all together came back and they helped in lifting up the contestant who fell down on the track. And to the audience surprise, all the 9 contestants started running, walking together, and they completed the race or reached the final point, finishing point together. Okay, this is what the 9 gold medals actually the poem signifies. Okay, so as of now, who is the winner? The winner is all the 9 contestants were declared as a winner, because this play highlights the spirit of the care and compassion, the spirit of keeping the human worth and value, human consideration. What the world needs at current scenario present is not more competition, but rather more cooperation and collaboration. Not only that, the poem actually also offers that the people show sympathy, but very less people show the empathy, or the it is the highest virtue of the humanity. Now, what do you mean by sympathy? Means showing kind to others. Okay, saying that feeling sad for others for their sad condition, or showing pity for others. But empathy is that people don't need sadness or showing the pity or sympathy. They need someone to help them. Now, empathizing with someone means you will be replacing yourself in that person's pain or trouble, and you will be doing something for them. That is what you are empathizing with that. Okay, so the poem actually suggests this quality of the humanity, that it is the highest virtue in the man, and empathy is the ability to understand and accept others as they are. Okay, so we can see this is what is a brief summary of the poem. So let us go line by line, stanza wise. The poem begins like this: the athletes had come from all over the country to run for the gold, for the silver and bronze. Many weeks and months of training all come down to these games. All the athletes who reach there, they have come from different countries to run for, and what they have come for the running race. Okay, and they have come to win gold, silver and bronze. And it's not like that one fine morning they woke up and came here. They were practicing, they were under the training for this Paralympic event from many months. Okay, and now the final day has come in front of them, that they all come down to these games. So this is what is the first stanza explains. The spectators gathered around the old field. Okay, all round the field spectators were gathered to cheer on all the young women and men. The final event of the day was approaching. Excitement grew high to begin. Okay, so the spectators gathered around the old field. All round the field, the spectators were gathered. Spectators, who are the spectators? The people who see it, who actually observe them running, or we can call it as the audience on the gallery. Okay, so to cheer on all the young men and women. So why did they have come? Cheering to make them happy, all the men and women. The final event of the day was approaching. So then this was the final event. This running race was actually the final event of the day, and it was approaching. And people have become more and more excited to see this running race. Okay, so this is what we see. The 100-yard dash and the race to be run. These were 9 resolved athletes in back of straight lining. Okay, so now what happens is that there were 100 yards, means the running race is actually meant for 100 yards, means when we keep running race, we keep 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers like that. Okay, or 100 meters, 200 meters. So the 100-yard dash and the race to be run. So the race was being decided that the contestant should run 100 yards. And these were 9 resolved athletes in back of the straight lane. And the 9 resolved athletes are standing at the beginning point of the track of their race. Okay, poised for the sound of the gun. Poised means what? They were all actually waiting very keenly, or listening very keenly for that sound of the gun, which is actually a signal. Okay, that shot of the gun is actually a signal for them to start their race. Okay, so the loudspeakers called out the names of the runners. So all the there will be an announcement. If you have watched the cricket or football matches, we can see that before the players come to the ground, there will be announcement of their names. Okay, so the loudspeakers called out the names of all the runners. The 100 meters, the race to be run. and there were 9 young athletes stood very strong and determined in their lines, in their tracks, and they were ready to listen to the shot of the gun to begin their race. Okay. The signal was given, the pistol exploded, and so did the runners, all charging ahead. But the smallest among them, he stumbled and staggered and fell to the asphalt instead. So the signal was given. Finally, the signal of the gun shot is given, and the pistol exploded. Pistol exploded means with very loud sound. It exploded the sound, and that is actually the signal for the runners that they have to start their running. And so did the runners, all charging ahead. So all the runners actually, on hearing this sound of the pistol, they started their race. They started running. But the smallest, that is the youngest among them, stumbled and staggered. So as he was running, he got, now you have to keep in mind, you don't think that they are all physically fit and they are running fastly. They are all physically challenged people. They are all differentiately able people. So in that, the youngest athlete, after having little bit of start, he stumbled and staggered, and all of a sudden he fell on his knees to the ground. Asphalt instead means he fell to the ground there. Okay, so he fell on the knees to the ground. So now what happened? He gave out a cry in frustration and anguish. So when normally, when children are fell down, what they do? They make a loud cry, isn't it? And they are more worried. They cry in pain. They cry because they are in pain. So they gave the youngest athlete also gave a cry in frustration and also in anxiety. Because what could be the reasons of his frustration? First thing is that as the race began itself, he fell down, and falling down on the ground is something like the whole world is watching, and it's considered as a big a shame for, or like that is a sign that he is losing the game. Okay, and all his dreams to gain or conquer the medal, and his all efforts of these many months training, everything shattered in a small time, isn't it? Or in one moment. So that is why he gave out a cry in frustration and anxiety, and his dreams and his efforts all dashed in the dirt. Means for a moment all his dreams shattered and it got mixed in the dirt on the earth. But as sure as I am standing here telling this story, the same goes for what next occurred. So here actually David Roth, that is the poet, says he himself witnessed this. That's why he says that this story is one of the true incident that took place. Okay, so he, as a witness person, he is telling this. Now when something happens like this in the middle of the race, every spectator's vision goes to that person, okay, or that place where something has happened. So everyone is very keenly looking at the athlete who fell down and was not able to get up. Okay, he needs someone's help to get up. He couldn't get up by himself. So but as sure as I am standing here, so the poet says that when I am standing there on the gallery and watching this and telling this story, the same goes for what next occurred. So the same had been I am going to tell that what next have occurred after that. Okay, so the poet says that the 8, now it's not only the poet who is actually watching, all the people in the gallery, those who are sitting, those who were eagerly came there to watch this running race, all the spectators were watching this scene. And what, to the surprise of even the poet, what happened next is that 8 other runners pulled up on their heels. The one who had trained for so long to compete, one by one, they all turned around and went back to help him and brought the young boy to his feet. So all the 8 other runners, the other 8 contestants, they pulled up on their heels, means they turned and they saw one of their contestant is in trouble, in pain, and is crying out of anguish and frustration. So they all turned their heels, means what? They all turned back, and one by one they all turned and started walking back. Okay, and all came near this youngest athlete who fell down and who was not able to get up, and they all hold him and they made that youngest athlete to stand up. Okay, so this is something quite unbelievable scene or unbelievable picture for not only the poet but also for all those spectators who were there sitting on the gallery and watching this race. Okay, so then all 9 runners joined hands and continued. So then what happened after that? It's not like that they all made him to stand up and again they started running and continued their race for the competition. No, they all joined their hands together and all continued the 100-yard dash, now reduced to a walk. Now what they did, they hold hands in hands of each other and the on the tracks, and they started holding hand in hand together. They started walking on the track and walking towards where? Walking towards that finishing line of the 100 meters. And a banner above that said, Special Olympics, could not have been more on the mark. Now, this Olympic, Paralympic was actually also titled as a Special Olympics. Okay. Now, Special Olympics is actually here, it is used in the two sense, metaphorical sense. Okay. The first Olympic refers to, since this is the Olympic of the specially challenged people, so that is why it is termed as a Special Olympics. But now, as the word suggests, Special Olympics, really the Olympics have become very, very special, because so far in the history of the Olympics, this scenario has never occurred, has never happened. Okay, so where everyone in the competition try to compete and win and reach the finishing line so that they get the gold medal or their country will be getting the honor. But here, to the surprise of all the spectators, all the 9 contestants together, they walked towards the 100 meters finishing line and stood below that banner of the Special Olympics. And this was something a really remarkable one. Okay, now they actually their intention, okay, made it very clear that they are together. So this scenario actually made everyone think that this is Olympic has really become a Special Olympics. So that's how the race ended with the 9 gold medals, and all the 9 became winner and all the 9 reached the finishing line same time. So the organizers have no other choice to declare them as the winners. And more than that, they really deserve the gold medal, because for their compassion, for their care and for their action that they have done. They could have, if the greed was there for them to win the gold medal, they could have left that contestant who fell down on their knees and they could have run ahead. But they did not do that. Okay. So they came to the finishing line holding hands still, and the banner above the 9 smiling faces said more than these words ever will, said more than these words ever will. So this is how the poet, concludes his poem like a chorus of a song. Okay. So he says that the banner above that gave the smiling faces of the 9 contestants and also titled as a Special Olympics could not have been more on the mark. Means there were no words for the spectators or neither for the organizers or even for the poet to say something more about this action of the other 8 contestants. Okay. Now, this is actually the occasion. So why actually the 8 contestants turned back? Okay, because they understood that this is the only occasion to prove their mettle and show their strength and capacity to add pride to their country and the countrymen. And this also shows that they were ready to create the history with all their might, okay, with the pistol fire. But when one of their athlete fell down, the moment was lost. Then what happened? All the others joined hand in hand and they became the symbol of a humanity. They became the symbol of showing care, and compassion towards their fellow being. Okay, so this is a great lesson that we have to learn from these specially challenged people, because when God has created us with all good physical health, with no special challenges like this, or no special disabilities, then also we don't give our 20% also in our studies, or in our works, in our responsibilities, or showing our humanity. Okay, so these people have lot of disabilities, but still they never give up such things, because they really knew the value or of the humanity, or the virtue of the humanity. Okay, so this is how the poem ends, with a majestic treat to the eyes. There is a grand celebration of the human values and the real sportsman spirit. So they did not give up the sport also. Okay, they continued. Okay, though it was running, was converted into walking, but still it continued. The sports spirit they kept on. All athletes give up their dreams for the sake of helping their fellow athlete, and the Olympic Committee also honored them befittingly, and each of them was awarded a gold medal, justifying the title of the poem, 9 Gold Medals. So that is why here David Roth quotes a famous quote, "The world is a stage and I want to be the brightest spot." Okay, so everywhere when we go to perform something, we see lot of spectators, and we think we are going to give the best. Okay, but when such situations happen, we always ignore, because we think of ourselves. We become so greed, we become so selfish, and we ignore ourselves, because if we step back, we will be out of the competition, and the medal or the trophy goes to someone else. Okay, this poem teaches us the values of humanity, the value of being passion and compassion towards the activity, that is the sports, and compassion towards the fellow human being. Okay, so this is how the 9 gold medals, or the 9 athletes, created a history in the Paralympics by winning the 9 gold medals. Okay, so I hope that